I would like to okay. First of all, I would really like to thank all the audience, all the participants on a weekend, that also on a festival. Happy Eid for all of you. That also IPL session. IPL session. Already the IPL match is ongoing. There is another match which will be ongoing at 7:30. So thanks all for joining this interactive session. I will be just giving some heads up or some of my experience sharing in this. Most of the things I think Raj broke the ice, what I will be covering. He already broke those security aspects, which I was thinking that I will keep it a secret, but he has already revealed those secrets. Now nothing is a secret or a security over here. So let me start. I will just share my presentation.
Amit, you want to start with the first poll?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, is it launched?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the poll is there. In your experience, how is the security rules changing? So another 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, one and a half minutes. That's the
1.5 minutes. Yeah. That everyone can. So only 55, only 50% of the responses still we have to get 100%, 100% participation, which I am really looking forward. I know this is a weekend, almost in the evening time. Still only almost only 60 or 70%. What about the rest? They are still thinking.
probably we can end and yeah, you can send. Yeah.
I think it's not a like IPL bouncers. It has to be 6 like IPL.
Should I end this now?
Yeah, I think 75%.
Yeah.
6. Let's hit 80% at least. IPL 78. Yeah, we are close to 80%. Few more to go. Yeah, now I think we can end then. Yes, we have hit 80%. The goal. Good. Okay. Let me just summarize. Most of the participants, which are there, almost 49%, which is half of the participants, are increasingly part of the cross-functional team. Rajesh, I'm not able to read the full. If you can able to help me. Okay, I'm increasing part of the cross-functional team focused on security. Yeah, so most of the team members are part of, or 50% of the participants, I can say, are part of the cross-functional team, where they are focusing on a priority is there on the security. Another 15% have a hands-on, which is they are involved day in and day out, looking into the security aspects, which is a small number, which is again the 15%. I'm a more compliance focused. Yeah, security, compliance, hands-on also goes hands in hand, which is again 28% are among the participants on those. My role is not changing. Role remains the constant. It can be from the security aspects, implementation versus the compliance or cross-functional team, which is another 8%. So it's a mix, and I can say 50% are a part of a cross-functional team implementing some of the security practices. So this gives a good one. for me to share my thought process.
Samit, you want to run on more or you can start?
Uh, let me start because I will be also having a lot of discussion. So have everyone chat is enabled. Because I will be a lot of discussion I will be having in this whole presentation. So let me share my screen.
Yes, it is visible. Okay. You can put it into the PowerPoint. Okay. Yeah.
Fine. I think Raj has already broken the secrecy or the secret what topic I will be covering. Reimagine how we are able to reimagine ourselves in the shift left arena from the security perspective. That's the topic which I will be covering. Rajesh just gave a very brief, and thanks Rajesh for providing a brief. I thought I will also put very simple brief, one slide. My passion first, I will really go about my passion. What is my passion? My passion is mainly on volunteer. That's what I do apart from my work activities, which keeps me busy, which keeps me motivated. I'm a part of ISACA volunteer, works along with Raj, Elengo, Venki, Rajesh in the ISACA working group. I'm also part of the CSA, which is Cloud Security Alliance Research Working Group. I'm a part of various research groups. And one of the research groups, which is recently I'm participant as on crafting a winning security culture. And that's the thing which I have put my thought process in this presentation. I'm also part of the DASA, which is DevOps Agile Skills Association, a review panel. I'm part of that, reviewing their material. What are the skills which are required to be really successful in the Agile and DevOps arena? Apart from this volunteering, I'm also really interested, which keeps me busy over the weekend on my cooking hobbies. And this really gives me more bonding with my family. I have a lot of family time over the weekend, and after I go back, I will again 7:30. I will also have certain things my son has requested him for cooking, and then I will be just cooking along with my son. So that keeps me busy, keeps me engaged, and that's the things which I do. Apart from my hobbies and the other things on the work wise, I have over almost 20 years, almost 2 decades of experience working in various companies, which is financial services, automotive, which is Daimler Chrysler, retail, Target, and also in the services industries. And over the 2 decades of my experience, have worked in various transformation programs. If it a technology risk and control assessment, control evaluation, digital and agile transformation, compliance, some of what they were also already looking into the compliance part, and also on the design thinking and innovation. My whole journey, or how I have explained it, is looking into the cultural transformation, and that's my research and that's my working also. Currently working as Raj has already put, or Rajesh, in Wells Fargo as a vice president in the technology evaluation area. Uh, that is my work which I am currently doing. Apart from that, during the whole course of my career, I have also engulfed myself with various industry certification and to really know how the industry is evolving across these practices and apply these practices in my work, and also volunteered on the upcoming practices. And that's the linkage of my research as well as my certification over there. So this is just a brief about myself, which and definitely I would love to connect with all of you. how we can connect and how I can really go about my research and my capabilities. It's a cross learning experience sharing. This just came. I just thought I will share. Just came just yesterday when I was already part of the research and a volunteer in the Cloud Security Alliance, where I was doing the aspects of training, how the training can be put across, what are the key strategies of the container lifecycle management. So I was doing the volunteering. So this keeps me occupied as a volunteer. I just want to give one aspects, everything which will be discussing, and this is one of the key thing which is there. It is only my views. There can be industry views, there can be your views, there can be different views based upon my research, which I'm already part of the research and working group, which I was already talking when I had a discussion with Raj, Kalengu, and Venki from Isaka, and put up my research. That is this, the research which I'm doing is on crafting a winning security culture, which is with the CSA Cloud Security Alliance also, and also with Osaka. And this is the presentation is mainly based upon those research attributes, and it's not endorsed. It's not endorsed by any consortium, not endorsed by my current organization. It's all my views which I am presenting over here. And I would also like to have all your consent, because I will be also taking your inputs because of the research. If you can put yes, I think everyone is fine to take your inputs into my research. So if you can use the chat window and put a yes or a no, so that I can take that as my inputs in my research. So anyone on the chat, it is enabled. I'm still not able to see. Raj, is it enabled, the chat?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can put, otherwise they are not able to do, you can put QA also. Yeah, it's enabled. Yeah.
Q&A.
Yeah,
Chat is not enabled. It is saying chat is disabled. Can you fix it, Raj?
We said, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. Otherwise,
Okay, because a lot of things I will be taking lots of inputs in the chat, so please enable that, because this is not a physical session, virtual, and this will help me in my research. And that's the thing. So if you can really enable that chat, which will help me to get more inputs in my research itself.
yeah, for the time being,
Okay. So let me just
we put in the QA and you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So then what you can do is you can just put in the QA if the chat is not enabled. Uh, if you can put yes in the QA itself, I am only seeing 2 or 3 yes. Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you. I think that everyone has given, most of them are given the consent. Thanks for the consent over there. Lots to cover in this whole presentation. Why security is the focus? Why still now in this whole ever-changing, ever-evolving technology, security has become the forefront? Why it said so, and just be covering that. Evolving, what is the evolution? How the security has evolved in the agile and DevOps is one of the core area where every one of us, every software professional, not only in the software but across the world, across all the geographies, agile and DevOps has taken with a lot of storm. It is, I can say, a storm has come in the industry that everyone wants to go in agile and DevOps. So how the security gets evolved when we are dealing with the speed? Here, one critical thing or just came to my mind: speed thrills, but always kills. Speed thrills, but kills. But how we can integrate speed with the, the security so that we are not killing, we are not a victim of the security breach. Another aspect, which is again a lot of discussion, and we'll do a lot of discussion over there, which is on the DevSecOps or SecDevOps. There are multiple terms. It can be DevSecOps, SecDevOps, SecOps, then then Dev, OpSec, different terms. So how we are able to amalgamate all these terms? Is there any difference in our mindset? And that's the key thing which I will be covering. What are the mindset principles? How we are able to have a different mindset? And then covering some of the aspects of principles versus practices. When you want to create a culture, a security awareness culture, the culture on which the winning culture in the organization, whether the principles will take a precedence or the practices will take a precedence. What will take a precedence? What is evolving? Or the principles will be the first thing which we have to discuss, or the practices which we have to discuss with the business leaders to create a culture or a security culture. And not over in the end, I will say any point of time, if you have any questions, that you can put it over here. Okay, there is a question. With banks slowly becoming agile, are you going to controls? In this whole presentation, mostly I have, and in the appendix, what are the controls, but not on the controls, focusing on the cultural aspects from the business standpoint. What are the culture? How we can transform the culture? What are the nuances from the cultural aspects? The controls can be in the practices. I'll be covering that in the practices, but what is important, whether principles are important for you, Subhajit, or practices are important. So that's what I will be covering. Whether principles from a principles perspective or a practices perspective, which covers from the controls. Okay, so chat is still disabled, Raj?
Yeah, so probably it's running, no? So probably on the fly.
Technical. Yeah, we are living in a highly advanced technical world, but we are also facing technical challenges. We can see.
No, what people can put their queries in the Q&A.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes we become slaves of technology, but we can definitely have different things you can put in the QA, and that's what the controls, and that's the thing, Subhajit, we're not talking on the controls, but on the principles, because we don't want to be slaves on the controls, on the tools, how the principles, practices, and the mindset can really talks about that. That's what is the whole discussion point. Okay. There are the whole industry, I will say most of the industry, and the security breaches has a common occurrence across the industry. And if I see the attackers has enterprise itself, they are really finding new ways to identify what are the security vulnerabilities and attacking those. As we are, as a security professionals, we are sharing our experience. Just came to my mind that attackers are much more advanced. Their knowledge sharing is much more advanced, because every now and then we are hearing a news. And yesterday only, I will just flip my phone. Yesterday, we just 21st of April, there is a news which is flash: ICICI Bank data leak, millions of records with sensitive data exposed. just flashing. I was reading the news, and this is 21st of Feb itself, which 21st of April, which is as of yesterday. And what is the key thing which is there? I will just read it as is from the news itself. Millions of records containing sensitive information, including client data and client personal documents, were disclosed by ICICI Bank. Most of us must be having their accounts in ICICI, and when I was also having my salary account, and when I was opening this, I also called the customer care really to see whether my account is not hacked. They gave an assurance it is not hacked, so that's why I'm also safe. But a lot of data has been hacked from the ICICI Bank. And again, it goes. During the most recent inquiry, researchers learned that the bank systems were misconfigured. So are they not really looking into the controls? Is my whole question. 21st century, we are in the Agile, DevOps, we save a lot of things. Everyone is on the controls, the practices, the toolings which has come. Are these banks not using those tools? Are WhatsApp not using this? Twitter, which is having not using this? Already, they are already using. But the attackers are really finding new ways. They are having more knowledge sharing among themselves, to put it. So whether the tools, whether the practices, whether the controls will abide those, or the whole discussion point is whether the mindset or the culture will have more aspects on the security. And again, so let's go for a discussion, and here it is more discussion mode because I'm collecting more of the information over here. Most of the slides you will see the discussions. So what do you think are the consequences? I was just reading the aspects of ICICI Bank. From your aspects, if the chat is not enabled, I think chat, I'm not too sure if it is enabled, technology constraints. What you can all do is you can use your, I think chat is enabled now. You can use the chat window to put what do you think are the consequences of security breaches. What do you think? Ransomware? It's not a consequence. Yeah. Financial loss? Yes. Suvrajit there. Financial loss. Ajay is saying trust. Absolutely. What about others? Reputational damage. Very good. Reputational loss. Ramohan. Arya. Benujoso, data compromise. Brand image loss. Okay. What about others? Let's have a discussion. I don't want a one-time on a monologue. Misuse of personal data. What else? Let me give you another 30 seconds. Client loss. Misuse Arya. Correct, Arya. Rajan, misuse of personal data. Suprajit, regulatory. Sudhin, controls are not strong. Hemlata, bottom line is business impacting, including compliance issues, reputational, brand image. Definitely. If these are the, I think you are on the dot. I don't have to really say it, but when I was again collecting and doing my research, what are the key things which came up? Loss of customer data and trust. Damage, the reputational, business reputational. The reputational itself is at stake for the business. Business impacting compliance, regulatory compliances, financial fluctuation, share price, customer churn, and ultimately what it impacts is your financial losses. It can have an impact on financial losses. If so much is the impact, then also the focus, still everyone is penalties. Yeah, Ramon, you are definitely on there are regulatory penalties. Shashi, security breach in Russia means pay for ransomware. Definitely that will spend from budget, which will cover from all over the revenue. Yes, Shashi, you are on the right. Legal issues, it can have a legal complications, legal issues, absolutely. And if you are having so much of thing, then also the security breaches keeps on happening. Yeah, Subhajit, deviation from strategic objectives. That's the key thing. I think you are hitting the target. You are aligning myself with which is coming forward. What are the strategic objectives? What are the priorities for the business? How the business prioritizes if anything is going in production in the agile? It's so super fast. How are you prioritizing? Whether the prioritization will be done from the developers angle, from the business angle? That's the key thing which Subrajit has given, deviation from strategic objective. Very good. Let's again go to another discussion, and all your points are very valuable, which will help me in my research. What do you think are the contributing factors for security breach? Use your chat. What do you think are the contributing factors? You can think lack of awareness. Yes, insider threats. Ajay, insider threats is taking a lot of things. Customer requirements, the prioritization of the customer. Rajan is giving that. Subrajit, again, lack of awareness to whom? To the developers, to the business, loose controls, lack of management direction. Shashidhar, you are bang on the target. Lack of management direction and support. Zero trust to be implemented. Yes. Lack of employee training on policies. Yes, Rajan, you are also bang. Please, what else? Inherent risk assessment, not property. Wow. See, you are already covering whatever points I have to cover. I think I can leave my presentation and you all know that, but I'm covering in my future slides. Vision and focus security, absolutely correct. Lack of senior management involvement in creating security. Rajan, you are absolutely correct. Firoz, mindset, definitely. Vision and focus. Access control is one of the key things. Anantram, yeah, absolutely. Lack of security by design principles, absolutely. Most of you, human errors, lack of investments. By Vivek, inability to quantify potential loss and evaluate again investment needed, absolutely. So all these are contributing, and if I just put the dots together, if I just puts my dots together, what it comes out is security is always the afterthought. It can be from a management perspective, it can be from developers perspective, it can be from ops perspective. It is always an afterthought rather than a priority. Most of you have already given that. Lack of visibility on the controls, inappropriate data handling, just put it, lack of senior management involvement in creating policies. The senior management is not really involved. Rajan has already given that. So when the senior management is not involved, that means it is always an afterthought. It's not a priority for them if they are not involved. Vision and focus. If you are always Mukesh saying vision and focus, and if I connect all the dots together, and that's the research which I have done, and all these were from the research itself, whatever you have put, it's all correlating with my research activities or the research which I've done. And putting everything together is security is often an afterthought and not a priority for most of the organization. But when we see the potential failures, still the focus is on the feature faults. If the feature is not working fine, then the business will say, okay, we'll stop, but not a security. The security is still really taking second precedence. So let's again have another thing is the digital disruption. The digital disruption is affecting every industry across the globe, whether it is the chat AI, which is robotics. Most of these are disrupting the whole industry. So let's now look into a different kind of aspects and discuss what do you think the emerging technologies like cloud will impact security posture? What aspects? Will it be more complicated? Will it be easier? Yeah, the digital technologies has how made our life easier. I can just give an example where I just few years back, if my mother was going to open a bank, she was having a bank account in SBI, and she wants to transfer to an SDLC so that she's more because that branch is not near to her office or not home. And almost 5 or 10 years back, she has to fill, I think, 5 or 10 different uh, documents. With the digital technologies, it is just a click of a button. I think we have heard the whole story of Zerodha, which is the startup investment, where they have enabled this digital to the highest level of the investment banking. But with this whole convenience which is coming, what do you think? What is the impact on security posture? Lack of clear level business priorities, process governance, yes. Vivek Mathur is use of unlicensed application within the organization. Saroj is giving, yeah, definitely. There can be open source, lot of lack of visibility and controls in these open source, which is these digital technologies. Hemlata, lack of clear enterprise level business priorities, technology process governance to implement and flow continuous improvement. Security will be more challenging. Yes, absolutely, Kumar. Firoz Kumar, you're bang on. With these technologies, with the emerging technology which has come up, which has made our life much more easier, the challenges on the security which will be more emphasized. IoT's legacy in cloud is having many loopholes. New technologies open doors for new hacking, and that's what I think. Shashidhar, you are aligning with me, and I was having a discussion with one of my counterparts just yesterday that the hackers is an enterprise of hackers. Like we have enterprise software enterprises, is an enterprise of hackers, and they share their knowledge, and they are very much effective in sharing their knowledge, because anytime you implement a control, they will identify how to break that control. So they are much more innovative to break it. They have implemented security to the highest level than the security professionals and ourselves. That's what Shashidhar, I think you are really getting along with me. This, I think, the telepathy which you have. Mukesh, are not having planned why and when to implement. Yeah, there can be a less focus on the cloud on these aspects. On the Subhajit Ray, control testing is not done properly. The controls, if there was a question, the controls, if the technology is changing so fast, how fast you will be changing the controls? And the hackers themselves will be identifying new ways to hack those controls, because they are much more advanced. And that's why we are having so much. Yes, as of yesterday only, I'm reading ICICI Bank, which I think it is more but very much advanced. 2 or 3 days back, when the financial churn was there in the US, there was an RBI report which came back that 3 banks in India are very secure banks in terms of their financial as well as security, which is SBI, which is number 1. Second is HDFC, and third is ICICI. And today only I read the news of ICICI. So are these not advanced? So with this advancement in the technology, with the advancement of the controls, still we are having breaches. So what will circumvent with this? How we can have these breaches in control? Compliance is an issue. Yeah, as we really thought about, is security is an afterthought. That's why we always have Firoz, compliance is always an issue. That is not a priority for us, not at all a priority. What do you think are the challenges to implement security? So it's another discussion. All these, what can be the challenges? What do you think the challenges? Not, so you're not aware of inventory. Yeah, absolutely not aware of the whole inventory of the landscape. What else? Landscape. What can be the challenges? Subhajit, constant, the cost of control is more than the risks. Risk to control assessment, risk to control mapping, change in the culture. Poor Kalyan, definitely change in the culture. Culture is one of the critical components. And the culture plays a very important role. The change in the culture. Firoz is not aware of the potential consequences and thinking that we have enough controls in place. Yeah, that we are always thinking we are always safe. But sometimes the hackers will identify new ways. So they are not aware of which is sensitive data and which is not. Classification, the awareness, it's also on the awareness part, how we are making those aware. I also request there are lots of other participants. I request everyone to participate. It's not a discussion. I'm here for not a monologue, but more of a discussion. Not aware of what is a sensitive, yeah, because of the unawareness, we are not able to classify those data. Sometimes the cost of the control, not aware, compliance is an issue. What else? What can be the factors, contributing factors? So what can be the contributing? Culture and organizational misalignment. Culture and organizational misalignment can be the factors. Expertise, user awareness, you have already given. Tool integrations. Let me, if these are the challenges in integration. So if I just put it across, what are the common things which comes up? Lack of security expertise. Lack of communication and collaboration, and time to market pressures. Another thing is business decision to go. I think Shashi, you are also, I think you have read my slides. And it is, I'm not saying you have read, but it is also in line from your perspective. It's not nothing which I put it over here. I'm just going with the things which are common across the security breaches. Shashi, you are also bang on the target. Time to market pressures. Always the features. It is features is the priority rather than the security. Business decision to go with or not go with factoring the risk associated with the impact or implementing the security. Always security as is the second priority. The features is always the first priority. That's what I've seen. And you are also giving the same. Cost is one of the major factors for a small organization. Yes, small, not only the small organizations. Saruj, when I put the breach, there are multiple breaches. No, none of the organization, whether it's a small organization or a big organization or individuals. I myself was a victim of a hacks. My Twitter account got hacked. So it is not about small. Everyone across the world is a victim of these security breaches. Your cost is one of the constraints from small, but big organizations. WhatsApp, there is a breach. Twitter, there is a breach. ICICI Bank, there is a breach. Then T-Mobile, big organizations. I can just name a few. They were having breach. So it's all about how we are prioritizing our requirements, how we are prioritizing, what is the focus. So let's talk about Well, let's discuss what solutions you can propose. Okay, yeah, Subhajit, absolutely. Yeah, I will just read it. Bureaucracy in big organization. Yeah, still we say ourselves agile culture, agile team, but we have put it very nicely and beautifully. Bureaucracy in big organization. I think that's we are still living in a siloed world. Will controls play an importance? No, I don't think so. We have to break those silos. We have to break those culture. That's the critical thing. It's not the controls. Controls will be will be coming in. I was reading what is the future of security. It is auto healing controls. Already the auto healing has already started. We are talking on the sec dev in my presentation. It is sec DevOps. It is sec AI. Sec AI is already, some of the research groups are already starting the research. I'm also part of that research, where it is everything will be fully automated or fully auto healed. So auto healing is post facto bureaucracy, yes, but how we can definitely switch it auto healing is post facto. But that's what I was just putting it in a humorous, that it's not about the controls, it's about the cultural aspects, the just in time and MFA kind of, how we can give the just in times decisions with the business, how we can enable the business folks also thinking on the security lines, how we can think on those lines. So what else? What solutions you propose? End user ownership. Ownership, yes. Ownership towards security, taking oath to think about security. End user, the business takes the ownership itself, the accountability. Saroj, organization goals should be aligned with the security policy. Yes. So what we are talking about is the alignment, updating of the legacy systems. Yeah, in some of the organization there is a legacy systems. Himlata, you are bang on. We need to engage more with business to align organization goals. Yes, absolutely. To drive security. Controls is one part, but we have to get aligned with the business. The business has to think, the thinking process has to change. The whole thinking itself has to change if we want to have security as the focus. The business has to think, the developers have to think, the architects have to think, the operations have to think, the whole of the community, whole of the organization ecosystem has to think from the security. What else? What else? Shashi is saying active monitoring, regular review, control measures. Yes, that will always come. What else is there? So let me just put it, if I stitch everything together, where business gets aligned, what we are talking is, we are going to the basics, where we are promoting an accountability. Most of them gave that accountability has to be put it. So can we, or what I have proposed is a shift left. And shift left is is not a new. It's, I think this has been in decades. This we are hearing from Agile, we are hearing from DevOps. But the main thing is the implementation, the cultural transformation from the business. Himlata has really put it very intuitively. Let me just read. IT, security, to think from business perspective instead of technology alone. Because she has put in a different dimensions altogether, where the security team also has to think from the business, and the business also has to think from a security. It's a closed loop. So our sponsors who is sponsoring the business, when the ideation itself is there, that point of time only the security has to come, and the shift left approach needs to embed it in that culture, secure SDLC culture itself. The cultural transformations, the security has to be amalgamated. There will be no difference. It's not integrated. It's amalgamation. When we do an amalgamation, we don't see a difference in anything. And that's the reimagine of shift left. Shift left is from, I think I'm hearing this from last 1 decade. But what is the difference which I'm proposing in the shift left? When we talk about a shift left and the security is an security engineering mindset. This is my views. There can be different industry. The reimagining will happen with, if we are able to implement, there are 3 words here, 3 very critical words, I will say. The emphasis of the words is one of the key things. The security, then the engineering, and then the mindset. 3 different words. So let's demystify these words and again have a discussion. What is your understanding of security engineering? What do you think? Let's demystify one word by one word. What is security? Yeah, we demystified security in the beginning. What are the challenges? So now let's not demystify what is your understanding of security engineering? What do you understand by security engineering? Still, members, participants are thinking. Design aspects, yeah, Lakshmi, absolutely. Let me enjoy my coffee. Still, everyone is thinking. Let me have my coffee time. Designing the whole gamut of security. Yes. Security built into the product design. Good. So security by design. Security centric approach, designing the whole gamut of security. You are thinking end-to-end in the security. Absolutely, Firoz, Shashidhar. Security built into the product design, not only from the design, from the ideation itself. When the idea itself gets created, then only why can't we have security itself embedded over there? Shashidhar, yeah, design aspects. Saroj, secure. What else? Simply including security functionality from the early stages, absolutely. And when we talk about in the early stages, what is early? Because everything has shift left, and now there is no space. If I'm shifting left now, there is no space for me to further shift left. After some years, what we'll do? Understand the interfaces and security at the transfer between the object. Threat modeling, absolutely, Vivek. I think you are already snatching some of the presentation slides which I have. Threat modeling, proactive solutions, designing the whole gamut of security, which is Firoz and Vivek. You have already taken some of my things which I will be covering in the later stages. Is threat modeling. Firoz, proactive solutions. Absolutely. What else? What else? So let me just go to another. What do you think can be the approach to implement security engineering? Now if we have these many, that it has to be integrated, it has to be shift left. What can be the approach to implement? What do you think can be approach to implement? Let me enjoy my coffee. My wife just prepared. Proactive solutions. Yeah, Firoz. Collaborative approach. Absolutely. Whatever I'm hearing, it is there in my next slides. That's what is there, and that's the whole thing which I want to put it. It's not that I'm coming as an expert. I'm just giving monologue here. All of you, it's all knowledge sharing which I'm doing. It's all collaborative learning. What else? What else? Anything? Still, I'm sipping my coffee. Secured by design, as introduced as early as possible on product design side. Shashi, yes, as early as possible on the product design side. On implementation, it should be regularly monitored. Yes. But what can be the approach? Collaborative, proactive solutions, design the implementation side, think ahead of the hackers. Yes, absolutely, Siroj, you are bang on. Break the enterprise of hackers. I think now we are having a security coffee. I'm also having a coffee, and there are coffee on the table. I think you can also enjoy coffee. I think hackers will also be having a knowledge sharing session over a coffee, and they will be really thinking, what is the next target? Now, whether it is X Bank of India or a Y Bank of any other geography. So how we can think ahead of the hackers? Absolutely. So let me just put it in a way. Most of you gave the aspects of collaboration. Already most of the organization, and it's not a new slide. This is just one of the key thing which I put it, Agile and DevOps, and everyone is aware of top. Yeah, Saroj is also giving top management involvement and security making decisions. Absolutely. So you're also correct. On the implementation side, do we want to have a totally a new way of working, or we want to amalgamate with the current thing, which is Agile DevOps has already taken a current, where the collaboration, the Agile really gives the collaboration with the business, with the Scrum team, the product owner, with various ceremonies, which is sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, daily Scrum, and there are various scaling frameworks. Scale Agile is one of them, which is really going ahead in the market. I will not go into those details. Then comes your continuous integration. There are a lot of continuous integration practices where we are doing continuous build integration. Then continuous testing, where it is already continuous. The test suite itself gives in a continuous way, and continuous delivery to the production. And when we integrate security in every aspect, the whole discussion which I want to have in this forum, discussion and debate, everyone is already aware of the term DevSecOps. It's very, very common. Everyone is implementing. Lot of the organization, if I ask you, you will be giving much more aspects rather than me on the DevSecOps. Everyone is implementing. I was just having a discussion also, one of the very senior executive IC, said they have also implemented DevSecOps. Here, one of the key terms, I'm just putting it, SecDevOps. Whether it is, will there any difference between these two terms? I'm just talking about the terms now. I'm not talking any methodology. I'm not talking any approach. I'm just talking about the terms. Will these two terms, whether if I'm using DevSecOps or a SecDevOps or any other terms, or SecOps, OpSec, or any different terms, will these terms make a difference? So let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. What do you think? The order of the terms. I'm only talking about the terms here. Please listen. Which is Dev. Dev is in the first, then Sec, then Ops. Then what I have done, or it is also in the industry, security I'll put first, then Dev, then Ops. So what do you think will make a difference in the security thinking process? Let me sip a coffee and then I'll wait for the discussion points. What do you think? SecDevOps, keep security first. Okay, good. Absolutely. Sec DevOps. Soma Ghosh. Security first. Okay. Soma is also giving, let me sip my coffee. So still everyone is still thinking. Yeah, we will think of security first before developing. Saroj is giving Sec DevOps. So will the terms make a difference? I'm just changing the terms. There can be principal practices that I will talk to controls, I'll talk later, but I'm just changing the terms here. We will think of security first before developing. Okay, what else? If I just change the terms, nothing get changed. Just take an example, nothing get changed, but only changing the terms. What do you think? Security to the leftmost. Okay, security almost towards Swaroop. Sec DevOps security to the leftmost. Okay. Rajan, we can analyze the security policies, implement them, and check and correct by using DevOps. Priority of security gets changed. Either you design with security first in mind or think of security later. Yes. Yeah, Firoz, the priorities. When we talk about the terms, you are bang on. When we are talking on the terms, the business, the CIOs, the CTOs, the CISOs really takes the priorities. That's the whole thing. The priority of the security gets changed. You're bang on. Zeros determines at what stage inputs from security team is taken. That is one of the things. Design for security design. Security by design. Yeah, so already some of the regulatories and frameworks have already given security or privacy by design. And now it is also coming security by design. So we are bang on. What else? I'm still sipping my coffee. Coffee guys. What else? So let's remove the haze. First, I will not go into waterfall yet. The waterfall has been old. Most of the companies are already adopted Agile and DevOps, and that's my starting point. From Agile and DevOps, the security gets embedded. When security gets embedded in that, the order of the terms is DevSecOps. It is just embedded. And when security, as most of you have given, and I'm not saying anything new, everyone has given the same in the discussion, and the security is given the highest priority, the first priority, then comes my Sec DevOps. And it is only changing the terms. There can be a and when I was doing the analysis, most of the concepts, most of the tools, most of the practices, I will also go into the details. Is there a change in that? We'll just discuss that also. And the security is given the highest priority when it is set. I'm just changing the different two terms here. Interchanging the terms. I've not made any major things, only changing two terms. With the change of the terms, you can just think how our thinking and the mindset changes. It's all about the mindset. And as you have given over here, it's in the mindset. Now let's, again, what do you think are the key difference between, now let's talk about the difference. What do you think are the differences between DevSecOps and SecDevOps? Is there any difference? Let's hear from participants. Let's discuss. What are the differences? Is there any difference you can think of? Let me sip my coffee now. Still everyone is thinking. Let's have a thinking session over a coffee. Everyone can enjoy their coffee. SecDevOps is more secure way of change management. Yeah, Shweta. Reactive versus wow, heroes. I think some of the it's I think telepathy with the participants who have really come. Whatever I'm thinking, you are already putting it across in the chat window. Firoz, uh, you are also correct and bang on reactive versus proactive approach. It's again telepathy between my thinking and your the participants who are there in this whole session. It's the thinking which gets aligned. Shweta, I think yeah, you are also bang on. SecDevOps is more secure way of change management. When we talk about a change management from a security angle, if we want to implement any changes in a system, the systems are changing, the banking system, any system, I'm not talking about any bank, any particular industry, they're changing with the evolving advancement in technology. It's one of the key things to be on the priorities, SecDevOps. What else? What do you think? So let me just remove the haze and put it. It's a simple thing, not, and most of you have already put over there. The first priority is the DevSecOps development. The features, the SecDevOps is security. Now, all others are based upon my aspects, and it is also aligning with all the participants who are there. Most of these things remain the same. It is the thinking which goes, the thinking process which get changed. If when we are, I'm just changing two terms. And I'm not advocating, I'm not endorsing whether you use DevSecOps or a SecDevOps. It is again dependent on the organization. I'm working on a white paper, that's why I'm just giving the aspects where the whole thinking, where the culture has to come, the cultural aspects. So DevSecOps focus on efficiency and process, and SecDevOps focus on priorities security. Absolutely. I think Rajan, you are also connecting with the slides over here, which is, if I just put it goal, I have also put it on this. The goal of DevSecOps deliver software quickly, and the SecDevOps deliver secure software quickly, which aligns with your put which you have put over there. I think all of the participants, I think that's a good way of interaction where what I am thinking, and this gives my thinking process, which I will be putting it across in the white paper, is also aligning with the participants which are there. And you are contributing in that. And thanks to all of you in this whole contribution, I would also like to say over there. Any other thought process on these two terms, which is DevSecOps only changing are different things, DevSecOps or a SecDevOps. And from when we're talking about a cultural transformation from a security conscious culture, and as we have discussed, what are the consequences? The consequences were too humongous. It really talked about financial losses, reputational damage. If these are the consequences, then the security first mindset has to be put over there. Venugopal is also of the view, and that can be different views. He has put his view, DevSecOps to be focused. Yeah, Venu, I totally agree. It's not only, I'm not putting it whether it is SecDevOps or a DevSecOps. I'm just putting my thoughts that the security needs to be prioritized, whether you are using, it can be Agile also. In Agile, don't we include the security aspects? If the user stories are there, no one is stopping you to have the user stories embedded into the security user stories. Threat modeling, you can input into the aspects of Agile. So any methodology which you are implementing, the security, if the security comes first, then the whole paradigm of the security first mindset is achieved. Is the secure software possible? I think it is impossible to have 100% secure.
Amit, I have one question, not question. Whatever you mentioned just now, and it's a good debate, and this is just a coincidence with one of the training which I attended today.
Okay, oh wow, that's really right.
Okay, I'll tell you why. And I was attending the latest PCI version 4. Okay. Earlier it was 3.21. Now currently.
Now it is 4.0. I'm already in the research group of mapping the controls of PCI versus cloud. I'm in the research group of that. Good to connect.
So when I looked at that today, and earlier it was only talking about cardholder data. Now it's talking about account. And plus earlier they were talking about only some firewall. Now we are talking about the entire spectrum of the infrastructure which is used for the processing. This is also, that means the shift is happening everywhere. It's not the word itself, and the focus is going towards that. Just wanted to update on that. That's all.
Rajesh, you just put my thought process. It's not on the controls. It's also on shift left is happening everywhere. So one thing which came up from zeros is secure software possible. There is nothing called as secure software. If I have secure software, hackers are identifying more innovative ways to hack it. So there's nothing called as secure software. So only thing, we can have a culture, we can have a priority, and identify what can be my threat landscape, what can be my vulnerabilities. So that one of the key things which came up, I don't remember, think ahead of the hackers. Can we think ahead of the hackers? That will make my software secure. And that's the whole thinking mindset which is there, which is hacking mindset. The business itself think from the security angle. When they are giving the user stories, I will go to the very basics, Agile itself. When they are giving on the user stories, they are thinking not only from the feature perspective, they are also thinking from the security angle. They are also thinking from the hackers angle. They are also thinking from the hackers. Businesses now started thinking from the hackers point of view and putting those inputs into the user stories. It can be user stories. Sometimes they call it as feature stories, development stories, technical stories, but ultimately it is a user stories. And if they are thinking, and security stories also gets amalgamated into the product backlog. Let me just put it across. And these are the practices. One of the key things when I was doing different practices, it's an overloaded slide, lots of practices. So are not, take example where I was just looking ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank is not doing these practices. Yes, they are doing. WhatsApp, who got in 2022, are not they are doing these practices? They are doing. Then what else? So what is the next step of these practices? What is the next step of the controls? Is the key thing which we have to put it across. How we are able to have security first mindset, a security centric approach, security at the core itself, the core of the organization, it's the security. The business is talking about the security itself. And continuous security, Rajesh just now brought out with the PCI, and I'm also part of that research group with the crowd security, where I'm doing the CCM, which is cloud control matrix, versus PCI 4.0 controls, mapping of that, how these two controls map one to another. And what I have seen in this, when I was doing that research, they are now, PCI is already talking about the whole gamut of the system, not only from the credit card point of view, the whole gamut, which is continuous security at the core. So let's again discuss. So a lot of loaded slides which I was just putting it. Let's demystify and discuss what security practices, according to you, are critical to achieve SecDevOps. Are all the practices, some of the practices, few practices? What practices do you think are critical to achieve SecDevOps or the security culture? I am just putting one sentence or a changing of the words here, not go by the words, but security first mindset. What can be the things over there? Just put it. My coffee is also over, so now I am left fuzzy. First testing, okay? Vivek is saying first testing. Good one, Vivek. I think I can connect with you to get more inputs on this first testing. I will definitely connect and get more inputs. And that's the whole knowledge sharing which happens, the exchange of the knowledge, the exchange of this platform which has been built up. What else? Awareness about the importance of security in the top management so that it percolates top down. Good, Aparna. It is awareness. How we are able to have that awareness at the top management level, not only at the top management, I'm also saying at the business leaders. If the business leaders are there, not only from the software, but the business also have that awareness. What else? Generating as many ideas from all stakeholders on what can go wrong. Yes, there is a concept which is failure mode effect, FMEA, which is very old. I have not invented it, which is failure mode effect analysis, and component FMEA, which is component failure mode effect analysis, CFMEA, and risk and controls self-assessment. All these goes into the shift left, the practices of shift left. What else? What else? Firoz, you are trying on. What about others? Still the participants are thinking, okay, let me just remove the haze. Still they are thinking. The practices remain the same. If I really go into the more on the, but at the top, which is SecDevOps values team, the security first, security centric, security embedded mindset, security driven culture. At Lalita Satish is also putting establishing audit trail, Saroj continuous training, and awareness and security practices are required to achieve SecDevOps. Absolutely. So the controls, the practices, the controls will play a role, but these things, which is the awareness, generating ideas what can go wrong from all the stakeholders, continuous training, continuous security, which is at the top, will play a more critical emphasis into achieving a security-driven culture. Whether we are calling it a SecDevOps, SecOps, DevSecOps, or Agile itself. In Agile, I've seen some of the companies, they are implementing Agile and they are implementing security. They are not calling as anything. There is a question: who is accountable for the whole in value stream? Who is accountable? Accountability. It is responsibility of everyone. Accountability of the top leadership. Subrajit, very good question. Responsibility is shared by everyone. It's collaboration, and it's the top leaders who gets accountable for any horizontal risks. And that's the whole shift or reimagining in the cultural transformation which has to come. It should not be competition saying where security should come first or development. It has to be mutual handshake based on defined policies. The way, yeah, it is again dependent upon organization to organization, the priorities to priorities. Sometimes, Himlata, you have rightly put it, some of the application will not require that kind of security. If it is an internal, it is only an internal where you are not having secure data. You can go ahead with your development itself, your faster development. But if there are applications which has sensitive data, which has highly confidential things in it, then your priority, and that comes from the senior leadership and the whole accountable, as Subhajit has already put it. Who is accountable for the horizontal risks? It is the senior leadership. The leadership has to drive it. The business leaders have to drive it. They have to start thinking. It's not the developers have to start thinking. It's we all talk about DevOps, DevSecOps, and most of these things, the business will say it is the tools and the techniques. Let the tools is there. There's automation which is happening. Let the automation play a role. The developers are there. The business has to start thinking in those lines. And the policies, as Hemlata, you have rightly put, when we are defining the policies at the organization level, that will drive my culture. That will be the key ingredient to drive what kind of culture, what kind of aspects, what kind of priorities the business is having. Venugopal, developers should also be aware of today's threats so that they can secure the application development environment. Yes. So I was just having a discussion with one of the developer community just last week. I was having one of the discussion. They are still thinking from the developer side, not from the security side. And Venugopal, you just put, and it just came to my mind, and let me put my thought process. In the developers, I was giving that there were so many vulnerabilities in the code. There was automatic scanning. There's automatic SAST is there, which is static analysis tool. There are different tools. I will not go into the details. There are X number of vulnerabilities. The developers were saying, what should I do with these vulnerabilities? Then the business told, can you just prioritize these vulnerabilities so that at least my functionalities will work fine, and then I will go ahead. This is the whole thing. So developers have to now think from the security, what are the vulnerabilities in the code, how they can fix those vulnerabilities, how they can prioritize those vulnerabilities. There is nothing, a different team altogether which is coming up. There's nothing or a different team or security team which is coming up. And that's the culture difference which we have to put it across. Subhajit, in value stream, the value stream owner will be accountable for the risk aligned to it. If a risk cuts across multiple value stream, who will own it? At a scaling, Subhajit, you are, one of the key thing is the scaling. You are talking about the scaling of the value streams, the connection between the value streams. At the portfolio level and the enterprise level, there is the epic owner who is the owner of the dependencies between the value streams. The epic owner is the accountable person of the cross-cutting risks across the value streams. This is mainly from the scaling perspective. Subhajit, that's what your question or your thing is there. We will know that there can be different roles in an organization. It can be the epic owner, it can be the champion of the value streams. So that person is the, and this role is mainly from the executive management or the senior leadership. Let's again have more discussion. How do you see security practices evolving in the future now? Now we talk about the security breaches which was present. We also talk about the Agile and DevOps versus SecDevOps. SecDevOps is also present. There's nothing new which I'm really talking about. It is already there. So how do you see the security practices evolving in the future?
Okay. Amit, just to give a time check.
I have half an hour. I will be able to cover that. I know. And everyone is also looking on the IPL match, which also starts at 7:30. I'm also eager to watch with my son.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mumbai Indians versus which is there. Rajesh, I'm aware of that. Because my son is also giving me tweaks over there to watch the match. He's giving me signals. Security by code, AI ML will replace most of us. Yes. See, Shweta Jaiswal, AI is going to be the major threat to security. Yeah, it is already coming. AI sec. AI sec is already coming in the foray. Security by code. Yes. Shweta Jaiswal, I think you are just connecting with my thought process, the thinking which is there, and that's the whole way how we really connect with each other. We are so distinct, but we connect with our thinking process, the mindset. Security by code, and in my future slides it is already there. Security by code. Heroes, security by design. Wow, Arya, you have taken my things. Security by design. Absolutely. AI is also going to be a major threat to security. Absolutely, Firoz. Arya, your thinking and my thinking, I think everyone is thinking on the same lines. It's not a difference in the thinking. I can say that. Arya, you are absolutely on bang. So let me just put it. It will be a hybrid, whether it is. So what do you mean by hybrid is, it will be, I was also talking about the auto heal, which comes in the end, security by design. Certain things has to be done by the humans. You cannot replace all of us, whether it is AI. There's a lot of discussion and debate which is ongoing. Yesterday also, yes, I was in one of the debate with, will AI replace our jobs? No. AI will enhance, robotics will enhance the way we are putting it across. And the same thing will happen to the security paradigm. It will be a hybrid approach where our intelligence, the tools are there. There are tools. If I go into the tools, if I go into the controls, there's a slide also I put when I was discussing with Raj. He told me, okay, put tools in the last slide, somewhere. I'm not talking about the tools. There are different tools. Every company is reinventing the tools now. The market is flooded with the tools, the market is flooded with the open source. But what are the key things which we as humans will take it from the dashboards, from the tools, from the threat landscape, from the risk analysis? That's the thing which all of us have to be involved in the future. Humans only created AI, it's just a tool. Yes, I think Ram Mohan, you are absolutely correct. We only created all the tools. We should not be the slaves of the tools, as I was putting it across when I started. Let's use an alternate way. We should not be the slaves of the tools. Tools are there to help us. AI-enabled security design, absolutely correct. AI will ensure learn to paraphrase our requirements. Security environments evolving. Shweta, absolutely. So all these all these are there as you have, whatever you are putting it across is there, which I have put some the tasks, the human intelligence is one of the key things. Web 5.0, absolutely. With Web 5.0, which is already coming up, there will be multiple things. Every day the technology is changing. Already lots of research is happening across the world where they are already working on different technologies. But will it really replace humans? That's not the key. And that's the future of the security culture, which is the cultural aspects. So what do you think are the factors to foster? Now we talked about security engineering. Let's talk about the third phase or the third word, which is mindset. How do you think, what according to you will change the mindset to foster a security mindset? Organizations, so wow, you're just putting the bullets which I have: organization, vision, and mission. Absolutely. What else? Bang on. Top-down approach. Subrajit, absolutely. A top-down approach. Okay, what else? What do you think the mindset has, the mind has to now change? In practice, everyone should practice linear algebra. It looks like, yeah, I think, Sudarshan, you are bang on linear algebra. My son is learning linear algebra. And we have to really think like a child. How we are going to the basics, how we are having a mindset, a childlike mindset, a curiosity-like mindset is the whole thing. Availability of the right skill set among staffs. Aparna, absolutely. Ram Mohan, awareness sessions on periodic basis across the organization. So all these, what else? How we can just think, just go out of your box. Just think of a child, how the mindset of the child gets embedded when he goes into a school or college. What are the key aspects? Because he at that point of time he's a blank. And now level in the mindset of the child. And we have to think of, we have to have a curiosity of that in as a child. Security should be imbibed into every aspect of people process. PPT. Mukesh, I always call, it's not a PPT over here. I always call death by PPT. But sometimes we have to prepare only to sequence our thoughts. But PPT, it is people process technology. Absolutely. Mukesh, yeah, what else? The evolving security environment will force to change our mindset. That is also, because the security landscape. But still, one more thing is there. It takes lots of time to change the behavior. So let me just put it in another slide, removing the haze. Focus on principles. Whatever you are giving, it's not practices, it's not tools. Focus on the principles. There can be multiple principles. And some of you have already given over here. This is just my thought process. There can be multiple principles and you can design your own principles. And any person can design their principles. Principles are the values which the individual has. And an organization, if the individual values are also aligned with the organization, so that principles gets aligned with the organization. Security by design. Someone's already saying that So already that thought process was already there. Security as a code. Security first mindset, promoting proactive security approach. Nurture security conscious culture. Have the culture, collaboration among different stakeholders. And if we are focusing on these principles, if we are having and the whole discussion, and it gets aligned with my white paper, which I'm putting it across. We are focusing on principles. What we are trying to say, we are influencing the behavior. We are influencing the behavior of different stakeholders. Let it be business, let it be developers, let it be the security professionals. And the terms are just the terms. I can just say that it is just the terms. Whether it is we are calling agile, whether it is engineering. Some of the companies are only saying I'm only doing engineering. They don't use these fancy terms. These are all fancy terms. For me, it is all fancy terms. Security to be built in, not built in. Absolutely, Soma, you're bang on. It should be built. It should not be integrated. Someone says if it gets integrated into Agile DevOps, then we are talking into the Agile, not DevSecOps. And there are companies, consulting companies, they are making a lot of money on that. I will not name. There are multiple companies who are just making lots of money on that. So these are not just the terms, but how we are able to amalgamate and influence the behavior is the key thing. And let me just play one video. Hemlata, we need to move from thinking to fix technology issues and move from business side thinking. Be in the business people's shoes and think to align to organization vision, goals, focus from stakeholder engagement from a security angle. This is also on the priorities. Some of the priorities cannot be a security. It can be your feature as a priority. But if there is the business is at stake, the reputation is at stake, that's what we discussed. If I just go back in my earlier discussion mode, if the business is at stake, if there is financial losses, share price is at stake, then my organization goals, my organization vision, my organization policies needs to get aligned with that. And that's the thing which will have a difference in the behavior of the members who are working on the ground, on the shop floor, whether it is a business, whether it is the development community, whether it's an operation community, whether anyone else. It can be your vendor partners. It can be your HR. Why not HR? HR has to think. Why we are only talking about dev, sec, and ops? Why not HR? HR also using our systems. So everyone in the ecosystem have to get aligned. When the organization vision is there, everyone of the system gets aligned with that. And it aligns with the behavior of each and every member in the system and in the ecosystem. And is it easy to change the behavior? And that's the most difficult. It's not the controls. The controls are already there. When I was doing a research, the controls were already there. This is my last slide, Rajesh.
Okay, thank you. 15 minutes left. Thank you.
I will want to play one video, which is just 7 minutes to just connect my dots together. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just play a video to all of you how easy or difficult it is to really change the behavior. So let me, I'm not sure whether you are able.
Hey, it's me, Destin. Welcome back to Smarter Every Day.
Voice?
You've heard people
Rajesh, are you able to please say yes, no?
Yes, yes.
say it's just like riding a bike, meaning it's really easy and you can't forget how to do it, right? But I did something. I did something that damaged my mind.
Can someone just, because it is a virtual thing, can someone just put it in the chat so that I'm also aware?
No, Amit, it's audible
okay.
and it's viewable.
It happened on the streets of Amsterdam, and I got really scared, honestly. I can't ride a bike like you can anymore. Before I show you the video of what happened, I need to tell you the backstory. Like many 6-year-olds with a MacGyver mullet, I learned how to ride a bike when I was really young. I had learned a life skill and I was really proud of it. Everything changed though when my friend Barney called me 25 years later. Where I work, the welders are geniuses and they like to play jokes on the engineers. He had a challenge for me. He had built a special bicycle and he wanted me to try to ride it. He had only changed one thing. When you turn the handlebar to the left, the wheel goes to the right. When you turn it to the right, the wheel goes to the left. I thought this would be easy, so I hopped on the bike ready to demonstrate how quickly I could conquer this.
So in this, they are just changing one thing, and that's what I also changed. Only gears was changed. Just see how is the difference in that.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Destin Sandlin. First attempt riding the bicycle.
All right. So the faster I go, the better. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. You can see that I'm laughing, but I'm actually really frustrated. In this moment, I had a really deep revelation. My thinking was in a rut. This bike revealed a very deep truth to me. I had the knowledge of how to operate the bike, but I did not have the understanding. Therefore, knowledge is not understanding. Look, I know what you're probably thinking. Destin's probably just an uncoordinated engineer and can't do it. But that's not the case at all. The algorithm that's associated with riding a bike in your brain is just that complicated. Think about it. Downwards force on the pedals, leaning your whole body, pulling and pushing the handlebars, gyroscopic precession in the wheels, every single force is part of this algorithm. And if you change any one part, it affects the entire control system. I do not make definitive statements that often, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot ride this bicycle. You might think you can, but you can't. I know this because I'm often asked to speak at universities and conferences and I take the bike with me. It's always the same. People think they're going to try some trick or they're just going to power through it. It doesn't work. Your brain cannot handle this. For instance, this guy, I offered him $200.
So just see, he has done research in various universities with various things, but no one is able to do. So it's not about changing. So just look into this.
Just to ride this bike 10 feet across the stage. Everybody thought he could do it.
No, you didn't understand. You didn't understand. So, this way. Okay, all right, a second. All right, so, whenever you're ready. Wait. No, you have to keep your feet on. Dude, all right, here we go. Wait. Like, you gotta start rolling at least. And go. Oh, go! All right, back up. Okay. Keep your feet on the pedal. Go. Go right on. Just keep your feet on the pedals. Yeah, come on.
Once you have a rigid way of thinking in your head, sometimes you cannot change that, even if you want to.
So it's all thinking. Please understand the rigid way of thinking.
So here's what I did. It was a personal challenge. I stayed out here in this driveway and I practiced about 5 minutes every day. My neighbors made fun of me. I had many wrecks, but after 8 months, this happened. One day I couldn't ride the bike, and the next day I could. It was like I could feel some kind of pathway in my brain that was now unlocked. It was really weird though. It's like there's this trail in my brain, but if I wasn't paying close enough attention to it, my brain would easily lose that neural path and jump back onto the old road it was more familiar with. Any small distractions at all, like a cell phone ringing in my pocket, would instantly throw my brain back to the old control algorithm and I would wreck. But at least I could ride it. My son is the closest person to me genetically, and he's been riding a normal bike for 3 years. That's over half his life. I wanted to know how long it would take him to learn how to ride a backwards bike, so I told him if he learned how to ride a backwards bike, he could go with me to Australia and meet a real astronaut.
Are you going to give up? No. Go ahead. This is how it starts. Look at this. This is such a big deal. Get up, you got it. Did you see his brain get it? So in how many weeks have we been doing this? 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, he did something that took me 8 months to do, which demonstrates that a child has more neuroplasticity, am I even saying that right, than an adult.
It's clear from this experiment that children have a much more plastic brain than adults. That's why the best time to learn a language is when you're a young child.
All right, today's bike log. I can ride smooth, I can ride fast,
I'm thinking the experiment is over.
Okay, now I'm in Amsterdam, a city that has more bicycles than people. The question is, can I ride a normal bike now? I mean, I've spent all this time unlearning how to ride a bike. If I go back and try to ride a normal one, will my brain mess up? So I've tweeted a Smarter Everyday meetup, if you will, and I'm going to see if somebody brings a bicycle, and I'm going to try to ride a normal bike. It's backwards. It's backwards.
This was one of the most frustrating moments of my life. I had ridden a normal bike since I was 6, but in this moment, I couldn't do it anymore. I had set out to prove that I could free my brain from a cognitive bias. But at this point, I'm pretty sure that all I proved is that I could only redesignate that bias.
So what you're not seeing is just a group of people here looking at me, looking at the strange American that can't ride a bike because they think I'm dumb. But I'm actually 2 levels deep into this because I've learned and unlearned. All right.
After 20 minutes of making a fool out of myself, suddenly my brain clicked back into the old algorithm. I can't explain it, but it happened in a very specific moment.
I got it. I'm back. Oh, it clicked. Hold it, it clicked. I got it. Okay, there it is. There was the moment. Okay, I can ride a bike.
I tried to explain this to the people around me, and they just didn't get it. They thought I was faking the previous 20 minutes, and I couldn't get anybody to believe me.
That looked like I faked that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just a fake. You think I'm faking. You don't believe me.
It looks so weird. You were like, la, la, and it's full.
You think I'm lying, don't you? I'm not lying.
I felt like the only person on the planet who had ever unlearned how to ride a bike, and I couldn't articulate it to anyone because everybody just knew that you can't forget how to ride a bike. So I learned 3 things from this experiment. I learned that welders are often smarter than engineers. I learned that knowledge does not equal understanding. And I learned that truth is truth, no matter what I think about it. So be very careful how you interpret things, because you're looking at the world with a bias, whether you think you are or not. I'm Destin. You're getting smarter every day. Have a good one.
Okay, if you want to support Smarter Every Day, you can download a free audio.
Okay. And that was the whole game, that influencing behavior, as you rightly put it. It's not my research. It is already there in the YouTube. You can also watch this video. Influencing behavior is one of the toughest mindset change, the change in the mindset. And if we are into that mindset, then going back becomes difficult. Please give me. So with this, it is almost, Rajesh is just behind me, and I have also completed. My son is also giving me a lot of triggers as I have to watch IPL, which is just coming up in another 6 minutes. Any questions or any feedback?
Yes. Okay. Amit, I'll just share my screen.
Okay. Yeah.
A second. Okay, Raj, can you enable the screen sharing? Somehow it's not enabled for me.
You can also give the feedback over the chat if that will also encourage me how it went.
And yeah, you will get a feedback as well now.
Okay.
After that.
Any questions? If you have, we have another 2-3 minutes. Anyone has any questions? Yeah, you can take over, Raj.
Okay, can you see that, team? Can you go to menti.com and use the code 61768427, or you can scan it and you can provide your feedback. At the same time, and you can give your feedback on chat for us if specific feedback or question. And we can pick up 3 to 4 questions, and we have 5 minutes more left. And before that, what I would like to highlight while you can do this, Amit, this is a little special. I don't know, it was a CPE session or it was a research CPE session or research session. The reason why we were all talking in one direction and for some direction, and you are the last video also. It's just put everyone in a different perspective. We have to change our mindset for adopting the new things. That's number one. Second, and we have to something unlearn and learn, and at the same time, and we cannot leave our core, the principle as well. Yeah, and I see this is one of the best research-oriented session, and which we have seen in the past. It was fantastic participation from everyone in the people in this session. I could see that there are 125 people very active till the last moment. That itself indicate that most of the people showed interest on this shift left, correct? And that's something. It's a good one. Amit, and thank you for a wonderful session for sharing the knowledge with ISACA Bangalore chapter and the ISACA members across the globe. There are people from India and there are some people from abroad as well in the session. Team, and first of all, and during an Eid and joining the session, and especially on a Saturday. And thank you everyone, and once again for joining and giving your feedback. Amit, as I mentioned, I will not consider it as a CP session. It's one of the best research sessions. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajesh. And I would also like to thank each and every participant. That's giving me more motivation in the whole session. The participation which is there, the connects, which I was thinking, it's not my thinking, it's all the participants also thinking the same way. So thanks to each and every participants who have come in the weekend on a festival, Eid, and also in the IPL session. Everyone wants to watch. Another 2 minutes are there. Thanks for everything. And I think there is one question also that this session is getting recorded. This session will be, I think, Rajesh, it will be
available. Yeah,
it will be available. And on the last video, I can give you the link to the last video. That itself really gives lots of inputs and connecting all the things which I was putting it across. And that has also changed my perception of the things. A lot of things which I carry along, thanks to all the participants who has given lots of inputs. And I have learned, I can say I have learned, it's not the thing session I have learned lots on this, and I will be connecting with all the participants who were there to really put my learning process in a good way. Thank you all.
Thank you everyone. I'm stopping the recording.
Okay, Firoz is again would like to know more about SEC